understand when people work and have to do what they have to do and be complacent, but that is sad.
Yeah. The miners who'd protested were told that if they showed up, that their homes would be burned down while they weren't there.
Okay, see, that's wildly inappropriate.
Yeah. Wildly.
Yes.
On September 14th, Jacob Zuma, president of South Africa, determined to end the protest, sent in the military, like convoys and armored cars, like sent in the president of the country is now involved and sending in the military.
Well, that's what I was going to say earlier is like, I get that it's the massacre, the protest or whatever. This seems like a small war. Like,
yeah,
I think it's insane when we say something is a massacre or a protest. I'm like, I feel like that's a war.
Yeah.
It's very small, but it's a war.
Yeah. So again, it gets violent, obviously.
Yeah.
Ended with but this time it ends in tear gas instead of a shootout, which
it's better.
Yeah. Most of the strikers were arrested for protesting.
Okay.
Hundreds claimed that they were beaten by police while in custody. On September 18th, because the union's involved, so all these stories are coming out, and it's just awful. Towards the end of September, in an attempt to finally end the protests and violence, a deal was made, a 22% pay increase to the miners. But now the miners are like, yeah, but what about justice for all the other miners that were murdered? Like now the pay, it's like great, but now that's not enough. Like we want justice.
Yeah, you literally murdered all of our friends and family.
You murdered almost 40 of us. You've arrested us for protesting. You beat us. Like money's not enough anymore. We want fucking more.
Yeah.
Like it's, they want more than money. They want justice. They want medical help. They want better working conditions.
All those things are fair.
Yeah. Others, and by others, I mean other assholes and other mines. Others are like, some other mine owners are like, and this isn't different statements, but they're like, oh, well, shit. What if our workers want increased wages? Like other mine owners are coming forward and they're like, ixnay on the raise, because when our people want it too.
Yeah, but you should be worried about that as a business owner, sir. Or
then,
ma'am.
okay, and so I know you're like, what does this case have to do with coworkers? It's the police shooting civilians,
no, but
right?
the whole thing is about work. I get it.
Right. So the whole reason, when I first found this case, there's one fact that made me fit it to this theme.
I love surprise endings.
You're not going to love this one.
Oh, I hate this one.
The 270 miners who were initially arrested and charged with public violence, for protesting, they were eventually charged with murder. The murder of their fellow miners, the ones killed by police.
Caitlin, no.
The miners who were protesting were charged with the murder of their coworkers who were shot by police.
Because they caused it by protesting.
Yeah, I'll get into that. So the justice minister reacted by saying, quote, the decision induced a sense of shock, panic, and confusion. Which, yeah.
Well, I just went through all of those things. Did you not hear?
The prosecution argued the doctrine of common purpose, which you kind of just said, which had previously, hadn't been, common purpose was used a lot during apartheid to defend apartheid, to defend segregation. So the doctrine of common purpose, which is a whole nother story, but it's apparently used often in rape cases in South Africa, which maybe is another episode. It establishes that when two or more people agree to commit a crime, each will be responsible for the acts of others that fall within their common purpose. So essentially guilty by association. If you and I decide to rob a bank together and you shoot someone, I'm also guilty for their murder. So like you said, they were because so police argued that, well, we only shot your friend, your coworkers, because you were protesting.
You guys were being rowdy.
So you're the reason. Yeah. So they're charged with the murder of their coworkers. And so that's the fact I heard first before I knew all this other stuff. And that's why it fit the theme in such a fucked up way.
I understand that theoretically, if there had not been a protest, those people would not have died. I understand that, but they did not kill those people. Like, that's not the same thing.
Right.
That makes sense in theory, but that makes no fucking sense in like practicality.
Yes. Now, the charges didn't stick long. They were dropped. But I think that the fact, like, I know they were dropped and that's amazing, but the fact that they were even charged and then it was even thought, that's insane. You know what I mean? The fact that, and I know this is another country. I don't even have fucking control about anything in America, but the fact that they could even be charged
Yeah.
shows something like that. You know what I mean? That's bad enough. It doesn't matter that it matters that it was dropped, but it's
You're like,
not
we
enough.
can't speak up about our wages without you killing someone and it being our fault.
Yeah.
Thanks. That is like the ultimate situation of gaslighting.
I know.
The next time someone asks me what gaslighting is, I'm going to be like,
The South African government charging.
Have you heard about this?
Dude, I know. When I came across this case, I was like, it fits in the most fucked up way.
Mm-hmm.
The European Council president, which you know what the European Council is.
Yeah, and you know about their presidents. It's fine.
European Council called the Marikana Massacre, as it was being known, a tragedy, and invited the Judicial Commission of Europe to investigate President Zuma and his reaction. The president did, however...
I also invite you guys.
And I say this with an eye roll because he was the one who sent the military in. He did declare a week of national mourning for the strikers who were killed, but also you wanted, like, fuck you. But also, police action was criticized by other country. Like, obviously, I'm criticizing them right now. Mine owners said that they felt regret for the loss of life, but said it was the police that held responsibility for the security and they had nothing to do with the deaths.
I'm sorry, but if we're
guilty by association.
Well, yeah. I was going to say, like, if we're going to say that it was the protesters' fault, like, why wouldn't we go as far as to say it was the business owner's fault for not paying the wages, for making the protesters mad, for like, why wouldn't we go that one extra level? If you had paid them more, there never would have been a protest. Yeah, therefore, you should be charged with murder. Yeah.
All the way to the top.
Bring it up there.
In the media, the shooting was called a massacre, manslaughter, bloodbath, killing field. Like, it's just
so sad.
Yeah, it was awful. Years later, so this was in 2012, so 8 years later, almost a decade, there is still no justice for the lives lost, no arrests or charges, no financial compensation for the families, just a little bit of a wage increase and nothing else. They didn't get medical help. They don't have a better community. Like, it's just their families are still fighting. There has been essentially no justice.
Well, and you have to know that the mine conditions cannot be good.
Yeah.
Like,
it's, yeah. So granted, like I said, the charges were dropped, but I feel like it fucking matters that they were even like, it's just, I don't know. This case had me fucking fired up when I was writing it.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And that was crazy. And it's insane to think that these kinds of things happen en masse, like now and in 2012, and just don't get solved in the way that we need them to be solved.
Yeah. And I know it's another country, but it's...
Well, yeah, it's hard to know the context when it's another country. But at the same time, people died. Yeah. And people are working in terrible conditions. Yeah. That's not good enough.
Yeah. Writing this case was kind of how I felt when we did International Month, especially when we covered Turkey. It's just... And I like covering cases in other countries because I want to be aware... Even though it makes me so fucking angry. Like,
well, and we try to do that too. It does become an issue when there's a language barrier. So it's easier to find cases in like places where they speak English, like South Africa and Australia and things like that. But
I don't know. This case, as soon as, like, because I was like, co-worker cases, and this came up and I was like, they were charged. Like, I just fucking lost it.
Well, and I got lucky with the France one too because I speak French and a lot of the articles were in French. But I was like, that's fine because I can read it. So it works. But
I'm so mad.
That has no happy ending. Not that a true crime case needs to have a happy ending, but like, and they usually don't. But it's bad. That was garbage. Not your reporting on it, but the case itself was garbage.
That's the next stamp. So we have the stamp that's never let the bitch out. Can we get a stamp that says that was garbage?
Just garbage.
Well, do you have a joke to bring us out of our hellhole?
I do.
Okay.
So what do bakers give their partners on a first date?
Dough?
Flowers.
Oh, that's cute.
Flowers.
That's cute.
It's a little cute. Dough's good too, though, if you want to give some dough on the first date.
Sarah.
Yeah.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Owls go.
Owls go who?
That's right.
I was like, oh, right when I said it.
Oh. Good job. That's right. They do go who.
Good job, Sarah. You're so smart.
Oh, I have to tell you something that
What?
So when we were in Payson yesterday, my sister who loves a pod. Oh, it was her birthday. She's 17.
Happy birthday, Maddie.
She was like, what's that hilarious joke from the podcast? And I was like, oh, which one? She
goes, which one?
The knock knock one Sarah told. And I was like, oh. I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know.
Poo?
And yes. And so my sister actually pulls up the most recent episode and listens. And then so she looks at my mom, she goes, Mom, knock, knock. And she does it to my mom. And like, it was hilarious. So all day we were like, knock, knock. Who's there? Europe.
Did you see the unpopular opinion post we did on our Patreon? So on Patreon, like our patrons get like a little extra communication or whatever. And so we asked them their unpopular opinions. And Erica, one of our patrons, was like, my unpopular opinion is that I told the Europoo knock knock joke and my family thought it was dumb and I think it's funny.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
You win.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it was good.
Owls go who. That's all I have today.
Yeah, that's all I have too. If you guys are listening to this, I hate to just keep giving Patreon updates, but there's an episode on Patreon that you're going to want to listen to, and it's where I'm drunk and tell a story. I'm saying this because we're actually recording that right after this. So I don't even know if it's good yet, but it's up now if you're listening to this.
Oh, it's good.
So join our Patreon. You'll get the spooky October and a drunk episode.
We're essentially ripping off drunk history.
But only because people asked us to.
Yeah. So Sarah's getting drunk as we speak and later, and I'm going to stop drinking. And next month I will get drunk. So
yeah, it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Good idea, patron. It was totally their idea.
Yeah. Thank you guys. You guys are killing it. Also, we have an update on the Egypt Covington case coming soon. We know that's been a couple weeks now, but we are still making progress on that. And then also, if you guys have not left a review and you like the show, please leave a review wherever you listen. Stitcher and Apple are the preferred areas. We have a Facebook page. You can leave recommendations there. But we just love when you do that, and it helps other people find out about us.
Bye, kids.
Bye, Illuminati.